You ever feel like modern life has no off ramp? Like the car is moving and you can't find the exit? You're not lazy. You're not crazy. You're noticing something is real. As we roll into 2026 looking around, we find that debt is up, housing is still out of reach for a lot of people, work is draining people dry, and somehow we're more connected than ever, yet lonelier than ever. So here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. We built a culture that doesn't know how to reset. And when a society has no reset button, it starts turning normal humans into permanent payers, permanent performers, and permanent strugglers. So let's start with money because money is never just money. It's often the scoreboard of stress. Credit card balances are sitting around $1.23 trillion dollars as of Q3 in 2025, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Household debt overall hit record territory, reportedly around $18.6 trillion dollars in that same period, according to MarketWatch. So now listen, this isn't a point and laugh at people moment. This is a what kind of system produces this moment. We've normalized a world where groceries can go on a payment plan, where Christmas goes on a payment plan, where a phone can go on a payment plan, where even your vacation can go on a payment plan. Your whole identity can become a payment plan. And the poster child is buy now, pay later. Now, buy now, pay later keeps expanding as a mainstream way to finance everyday purchases, according to Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And what's wild is the cultural message behind it. Don't feel the cost today. But reality always collects. Reality never offers 0% interest on your soul. And when regulations and enforcement posture keep shifting based on who's in power, the average person just gets whiplash. The rules change, marketing stays slick, and the consumers stay confused. Then you've got student loans, another form of national whiplash. The SAVE plan has been tied up in major legal and administrative challenges, with repayment and forgiveness rules shifting and pausing in 2025, according to Investopedia and the U.S. Department of Education. So, what happens to people? They stop believing there's a path out. They just try to survive the month. And survival mode is expensive, not just financially, it's emotionally. Now, let's talk about housing because housing is where no reset becomes a cage. Mortgage rates did come down late in 2025 to around 6.15% in the last week of December. That was the lowest level of the year for AP, according to AP News. That's real relief, but it's not magic because affordability is still brutal in many places, and a lot of people feel locked out or locked in. So they feel locked out if they can't buy, and locked in if they bought at a low rate and they can't move. Even when prices flatten, their total monthly payment doesn't always flatten, especially with taxes, insurance, and everything else climbing. The broader picture in 2025 was still housing remained largely unaffordable for many. So the American dream starts to feel like a subscription you can't afford. Here's where it gets personal. If you're burned out, you're not alone. One 2025 workforce survey says more than half of U.S. workers report burnout. And if you're feeling weirdly isolated, like you're around people but not with people, you're not imagining that either. The Surgeon General has warned about loneliness and social isolation as a serious public health issue, and news coverage keeps showing communities trying to rebuild connection block by block. Now, if you combine these two, burnout plus loneliness, That's the perfect recipe for what I'll call quiet despair. It's not dramatic, just heavy. You wake up, you grind, you scroll, you sleep, and you start to suspect, is this it? Okay, here's where I'm going to bring up something ancient, not to preach at you, but to show you something wise that we forgot. There's an old idea in the Bible called Jubilee. And if you're not religious, don't click off because I'm not asking you to join a choir. I'm asking you to look at a principle that modern culture desperately needs. Jubilee was basically a built in societal reset, a scheduled moment where the system admitted people shouldn't be trapped forever. Debts didn't get to become generational chains. Land didn't get to be permanently stripped from families. People who fell into servitude because of poverty didn't stay there forever. Whether you see that as divine law or just brilliant human design, the insight is the same. If you don't build resets into the system will eventually break the people. And when the people break, the culture doesn't become more free, it becomes more angry, more addicted, more polarized, even more numb. So, how do we apply this without turning it into a political slogan? So, here are three lanes: personal, community, and cultural. So, if we have lane one, personal jubilee, your off ramp, you can't control the entire economy, but you can stop living like your life is a permanent payment plan. So here's what Jubilee thinking looks like on a Tuesday: stop the bleeding. If you're using debt to maintain an image, you're financing a costume. Create a reset rhythm. One day a week, you stop performing, not because you're lazy, because you're human. Pick one chain and break it. One debt, one addictive pattern, one compulsive habit, one subscription you don't enjoy. And if you need a practical framework, list debts smallest to largest. Pay minimums on everything. Attack the smallest with intensity and stack wins. That's not just finance, that's psychology, that's hope returning. So, lane two is community jubilee. People aren't disposable. A healthy society doesn't just hand out money, it restores people back to stability. So, think less endless charity and more help someone get transportation to work, help someone learn a skill, help someone stabilize for 90 days, help someone build margin, help someone rejoin community. Because the opposite of loneliness isn't being online, it's being needed and needing others. And we're seeing small groups trying to rebuild that in real places, not just hashtags. So, lane three, cultural jubilee, the policy conversation nobody can stomach. Now, this is where everyone wants to scream, so I'm going to try something else. I'm going to reason. Our culture keeps inventing new ways to extend the payment instead of building ways to restore the person. Buy now, pay later says don't feel it now. Some student loan policies promise relief, then get frozen or reversed. Housing help often turns into another complex program nobody can navigate. And then we act shocked when burnout hits half the workforce. So here's the uncomfortable truth: a culture without reset produces citizens who are easy to manipulate because desperate people will accept almost anything that feels like relief. So, no, Jubilee isn't a simplistic cancel everything slogan. It's deeper than that. It's a warning label. Don't design a world where failure is permanent. Don't design a world where people can't recover. Don't design a world where the only way out is escaping reality. So let me land with this. If you're watching this and thinking, yep, I'm tired, I get it. But tired doesn't have to become hopeless. This week, just pick one reset. One financial reset, a written budget plus cut one expense. One relationship reset, apologize, forgive, or set a boundary. One body reset, sleep like it matters because it does. One community reset, join something real, a men's group, church, volunteering, anything. Because the point of Jubilee wasn't free stuff. The point was freedom from permanent captivity. And whether you call that biblical wisdom or human sanity, we need it again. If this connected with you, subscribe because I'm going to keep doing culture commentary like this, where culture meets conviction without the shouting. And tell me in the comments, where do you feel the no off ramp the most? Is it money, housing, work, or loneliness?